now entering the horror sanctum.
Hello, and welcome back to the Horror Sanctum podcast. I'm Jay with John, Kellen, and Lena Delphire.
Hello.
So three of the four of us were lucky enough to get advanced screening passes for Blumhouse's remake of Speak No Evil, which is in theaters everywhere today, Thursday. So we decided to do a short episode on it, and we're going to try our damnedest to remain spoiler free, which is a very, very hard thing for us if you are familiar with us at all. I can't promise anything, but we're going to try our best. And we have John here with us, who has not seen the remake. He has seen the dark ass original, so that's going to help keep us in check as well. Like I said, this is a remake from 2022. I guess we're just remaking anything as quick as we can these days. It was a Danish flick, I believe. The original is on Amazon and Shudder. I did watch it yesterday, and damn. But we'll get to that later. Spoiler, though, I do think the remake is better. So, anyways, at least I think so. So, Speak No Evil 2024, directed by James Watkins. A dream holiday turns into a living nightmare when an American couple and their daughter spend the weekend at a British family's idyllic countryside estate.
So I'm going to start off by saying I have not seen the original, but I did have some preconceived notions of what it was about because it came out in 2022, and I was telling you guys this the other day. It was kind of like this year's When Evil Lurks. When something is described as bleak and disturbing, I'm immediately very weary of it because those kinds of films really affect me. And I think about them for days and weeks. And
Same,
I don't
girl.
like,
Same.
I don't like my day ruined. So I never watched it. I did read, some of the plot on Wikipedia. So I'm familiar with what happens in the film, and I was fine with that. So going into this one, I had an idea that it was going to be not as brutal because it's an American remake, number one. So something a little bit more palatable for the American audience. Number two, it's Blumhouse. And I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. Blumhouse has kind of burned us this year a little bit with films, more quantity over quality. And the conversation was actually about The Invisible Man back from 2020, which I thought was great. And Blumhouse was, cranking out some awesome stuff then. But now with The Wolfman coming out, I'm a little bit nervous. But, Lee Whannell, love him. So it's in his hands. Anyways, I digress. I knew that this movie was billed as a psychological thriller. But going into it, I was in the mind of horror. I was like, okay, I'm ready to be disturbed. I'm ready to be, just mess with my eyeballs, make me jump out of my seat. I was ready. I didn't know there was going to be so much humor in this one. Is there any humor in the original one?
Nope. There's
Okay.
awkwardness. There's awkwardness, and there's
Yeah.
things where someone could have looked at the person beside them and said, but as far as humor, no.
Yeah. Yes.
The original makes The Hills Have Eyes seem like an easy watch.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's rough.
Yeah. See, I'm curious now that I've seen this one to go back, but we shall see. Anyways, the theater that we were in, I was a little distracted by the crowd. I don't know about you guys, but we had some people yelling at the screen. I'm like, people still do this?
Yeah, we
in
talked about that as
2024?
we walked to the car. Kellen and I talked about, I would like to see this again without people.
Oh, yes.
And then we probably have a different experience for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Because when I look at other reviews, people are raving about it, and I was at the end just like, that was good and entertaining, but my socks weren't knocked off. But I will say, I mean, the story was fun. James McAvoy he steals the show. He was fantastic. He reminded me of his character, the Beast from Split, just like super unhinged and just wild. And I was saying, afterwards, I thought he was greatly casted because I would do anything he said. He's a beautiful man. And he's jacked in this movie.
I would
I think
too.
it was Kellen, you said he reminded you of Ryan Reynolds from The
Well,
Amityville
that, and,
Horror.
and my wife, I sent a picture of the screen of him doing the thing, and she said James McAvoy can get it.
Yeah,
It's like,
like
oh, good to know.
yeah. He's like,
You're
yeah,
right. He
me
can
me
get it
too. Yes,
and give it.
100%. 100%. I thought the whole cast was great. And obviously, when it comes to the American family, they're going out of their way to not offend the British couple. And I totally get it. And it is frustrating during many points of the film. And even the husband, I mean, he played his part greatly, but it did frustrate me so much because I'm like, just be a man and just freaking leave. But my problem was with all the dark humor. I feel like with the crowd, that tone carried through the entire film, even during like the tense dread building parts. Like I'm trying to get scared, I'm trying to be nervous, but like when dude, a few rows down is laughing his head off, I'm like, I just can't get in the moment. Um, so I don't know if they meant for that to happen for the entire movie, but just when the third act hits and it's supposed to be brutal and scary, and I just wasn't feeling it. And it didn't take many risks or just really any crazy plot twists, I thought. Um, so I feel like a casual horror viewer or a thriller viewer may like this movie more than I did because I lost my interest a little bit toward the end. Uh yeah, no, we're not spoiling anything here. So I'm trying to
We're
watch
trying
my
our
tongue.
damnedest.
Watch my
That
tongue.
that theater we were in
No
also
pun intended.
smelt of pot.
I was about to say, was the tongue thing a pun?
I know, no, I just had to throw that in there. I kind of wish we didn't know that from the trailer because I didn't know. I don't know if that's a thing in the original film, but
In the original, the kid, they say he has like a disorder where he has no tongue. I don't know if they did that in the new one or not.
they
Yeah, they
said,
did.
yeah, he had
But it
some
was
kind of
kind of the
medical
same. So I
problem.
almost think they were kind of going off the principle like we think you've seen the original. Here's our version of it,
Yes,
so you kind of already know that part, maybe.
yeah, right. Another part that I just feel like is interesting, like pre-motherhood, the whole bit with the 11-year-old girl wanting to, have her little doll and they go back for her doll or whatever at different times. Pre-motherhood Lena would have been like, get the F out of there. But I have a son now. I totally get it. If we left Elmo somewhere, which we have, it's problems. So that would have been frustrating to me back in the day, but I totally get it this time around. But my okay, we're not giving stars yet, are we? So save that for the end.
We'll do that at the end. Yeah.
Okay. Overall, James McAvoy saved this movie in my opinion. But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, you hit a lot of stuff on the head. And made a note about the crowd. Kind of takes you out of the film. They were laughing at parts that didn't need to be laughed at. I mean, there's what 2022 does is stay dark. It starts dark. It is dark. It stays dark. There's not a whole lot of sunshine in that movie. The 2024 does have kind of some comedic elements early on, and that's to build on the suspense of what's coming, which I think is what 2024 did a lot better than the original. Is the original is kind of just you're already in for a ride. This one, it kind of you feel uneasy because you know where the story's going. You feel uneasy, and they build that uneasiness by keeping you guessing on when it's going to happen. And James McAvoy does such an expert job of slowly becoming more and more unhinged. And that's kind of what the buildup in this movie is James McAvoy showing who he really is. And that they give that away in the previews that he's definitely the monster in this film. And he does that so well. He does those transitions from smiley happy guy to, oh, this guy wants to kill me. Just like that. The whole cast was great. Mackenzie Davis, Scoot McNairy, Aisling Francoisi. I don't know how you say her name. She does a great job as McAvoy's partner. But the biggest takeaway from this movie is unease. that's what you feel for the majority of the film, even with the crowd that we saw it with being a little too um, giddy, like they were hyped up on gummy worms and Red Bull. Um, it still makes you just uneasy from the get go. You know something's going to happen. You're waiting for it, and they do such a good job of kind of drawing it out to the point where you're like, oh my god, something please happen, and then when it starts to happen, you're like, oh my god, please stop happening. um, yeah, the transition, like I said, is better in the new one. I think the acting's better as well. The original one, there's not so much. The evilness is more in the acts and as opposed to the acting. Um, it's more of what you're seeing as opposed to the guy making you realize that he's a horrible person. They also do a little better job in this one of kind of giving you an idea of why things are happening. The original, they don't really go into much detail. That being said, there's certain scenes in both that are almost shot for shot remake. They definitely took dialogue, scenes, a lot of things that happened in the original and just threw them in the new one. So this is not, I mean, this is the definition of a remake. This is not a reimagining. I mean, yeah, they take some liberties in the latter half of the film, but for the most part, they took the entire premise of this film and reshot it for an American audience with American sensibilities. I think Lana touched on that. The European audience is a lot darker, and they're a lot more willing to see a lot more horrifying things. Looking at you, a Serbian film, but never again, hopefully.
Classic.
Yeah. But and that's my problem with the original one, and why I think this is a better film. Lana touched on it too, and I'm the same way. Movies are an escape for me. The reason slasher films, I'm okay with the slasher surviving at the end, is because there's the final girl. There's somebody that does succeed, even if they don't get a complete win. They don't win the war, they win that battle in the movie. So there's a sense of evil being defeated. We don't really get that in the first one so much. Yeah, evil is
Evil does the beating.
Yes. And the problem with that one for me and this one, and I do like some of the comedic elements and some of the maybe a little bit over the top acting at times from James McAvoy, which I think is on purpose to be bigger than life in some of those scenes, to kind of take you out of the thought that this could happen. Like, and that's what a lot of these the Hostel movies, not so much the later Saw movies, but the first one, there's enough sense of realism to instill that fear in you, like that this could happen. And that was what killed me in the first one, is because it's way too close to being real. Why did we love the Taken franchises? Because Liam Neeson kicks everybody's ass. Everybody who deserved to have their ass kicked in that movie got their ass kicked. It's a horrifying, especially as a parent, it's a horrifying thought. If you've ever been in the store and just looked over, your parents probably had the same thought. You look over and you don't see your kid for a split second, and your heart drops. So that realization, that fear is a real thing, and this movie plays on that. So does the original. But like I said, I enjoyed this one more. I think the acting's better. I think the scenes are better. The buildup is better. The reasoning behind certain things that play out in the movie makes better sense in the new one. So overall, I really enjoyed this film. It's definitely one that I would suggest or recommend somebody to see if they're in the movie for one of those kind of psychological thrillers. Like I said, James McAvoy, he can get it. He's on par with any actor in Hollywood right now. If you put him toe to toe with anybody as far as acting chops, I mean, I would put them up there with Leo, anybody that you could name. He's fantastic and gives 110% any role. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
So you probably responded back to me like, yeah, he can get it.
That's exactly what he said. I was like, yeah, he can get it.
Fair.
Haley Knightley and ever so rightly.
You just high-fived me off screen. I'm gonna spoil the original a little bit. Like, we all know what happens in it, but like, it is super dark. And I think what they were doing in that one was more child trafficking.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
Interesting.
But didn't they end up with the daughter?
I thought it was with a different family.
Well,
Maybe they look different. I thought the mom looked the same, but the guy looked different. John,
I will
you watched it?
say the thing about the original, and I thought about this when I rewatched it, was that the families in the original, I think it's like Dutch and Holland, and so they talk about like how people are so polite. You know, sometimes people are just too nice until their death. And I used to work with someone who was from Holland, and it's funny. He was so friendly. He was so friendly that you actually didn't know he was mad when he was mad. You couldn't figure out he was mad. So that kind of resonated with me. Well, I didn't like the movie, but I was like, I could sort of see why like a Holland or a Dutch filmmaker would do that, because they have a very odd sense of like how they get angry. So yeah.
I'm also going to talk a little bit slower than I normally do, just to make sure I don't fuck up and spoil anything. But
I'm sure I did.
The first horrifying scene in the movie you see in the preview is where they invite a couple they just met to their house. That's a nightmare scenario for me. You know, I'm never going to get, this is never going to happen to me, because I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm a fan of those empty invites. We all do them all the time. Like, oh yeah, we should get together sometime. Yeah, totally. And then you just disappear from each other's lives forever. That's how this would have been. Like, yeah, we'll totally come. And then, hey, we got a postcard. Okay. Recycling bin. That's me.
100%. 100%.
But that whole idea is terrifying. So James McAvoy and the comedic elements. I think that was written in to help realize how they lowered that other couple's defenses so much. Because Mackenzie Grace was the smarter of the two, the ballsier of the two. She needed convincing. Like, she didn't want to do this. The relationship between them in the movie is completely different than the original as well. Like, they don't have that relationship situation. So they wrote that in. I'm not quite sure the point of that when I sat and thought about it.
I think it gives more of a reason that they would go. Like in the first one, like there's not really much, you don't have anything to build on. This, they're trying to repair their relationship. And so this is kind of like, hey, let's get out of our comfort zone. Let's do something for us.
With another couple that we just fucking met. It makes complete sense, you know? But like you guys said, the acting was fantastic. James McAvoy, give him any award he wants. He is very over the top, but he is also terrifying. Even in the beginning, before he turns into what he becomes, is like, he's still scary. Like, he just has that presence on screen. Like I said, we talked about when we were walking out, you know, everybody laughed a lot, and I'm desensitized. Has anyone else seen the movie Paparazzi with the guy who's in Yellowstone? Rip. Paparazzi is about an actor, and it's kind of like Princess Diana's story, and they end up killing his wife. I think it's been a long time since I watched it, but he goes and finds every paparazzi that was involved and starts killing them. And I laughed that entire film. I'm desensitized like that. I've laughed at other films, like even in
I laughed
Dark.
at Green Room or the Green Inferno. Sorry, I laughed at Green Inferno throughout that film.
It's like the Terrifier movies, you know.
Yeah, like there's moments to laugh.
Trick or
and
treat
this
bucket
probably
that's
is
ahead.
Right. This had its moments for laughter too. I laughed at a brick scene. I think that's the hardest I laughed, because A, you saw it coming. 2, it was hilarious. Like, no spoilers, but it was fantastic. I laughed. That's probably the hardest I laughed. But there were comedic elements, and that's what we did. We whitewashed it to America, and that's our personalities. Like, we're dark, but we're funny, you know? Like me, you know, is he going to kill himself? Is he just joking? Who knows? Is it a cry for help? We don't know. We don't know. So it fit well with that. I really didn't like the original. I think I ended up giving it a 3 out of respect, but it's a completely different film. So if you've seen the original, you're like, this is 2 years ago, I'm not going to go see this movie. It's a completely different film. And like I said, a better film. They do a lot of the same scenes, same dialogue. There's also, I think, the new one is about 20 minutes or so longer. One of the things I wish they did take from the original and put in this one, there's a piecing. So, Lana, you haven't seen it. So there's a scene where the American guy, whatever he is, he's brushing his teeth, and the James McAvoy character comes in the bathroom and just starts pissing. It's so uncomfortable.
Nice.
because this one, the original, didn't have any comedy. Now, if this had happened
It
in this
happens
one,
when she's
everybody
in the
would have
shower
laughed.
too. Remember?
Yeah. So I
Ooh.
wish they had brought that over because that was so uncomfortable. It would have helped kind of, but I imagine everybody would have laughed too because half those people were baked in that theater. But I do wish they had brought that over. And then let's see. I think we've touched on everything else. Like you guys knocked. I'm gonna have to start going first on some of these.
Was the dad in the new one a total idiot? Like in the because the original, the dad was like the biggest.
No,
idiot
they
on
make
the
him
planet.
he's more of a pacifist kind of. I mean, he's kind of what you would call a pushover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, and they build that as to what
And he's
happens
down
between
on
him and
his
wife.
luck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's kind of like the kind of person who, like, if somebody backed into his car, he would give them his insurance and just be like,
Yeah.
"I'll take care of it."
There's a scene in the
He's
original.
Charlie Brown. He's a human Charlie Brown.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
There's a scene in the original, and I don't know if we want to spoil the original, but like,
Spoil it. We can't spoil the new one. Spoil the old one.
well, so
Yeah.
you remember when in the original he walks in, or it's him or the wife walk into the bedroom, and the little girl's asleep, and the other guy is naked in the bed with her, and then
Yeah.
they come back. I was like, oh my god, you people have no self-preservation at all.
We'll side
Yeah, they
text you
didn't.
there
They
about
didn't do
one.
that.
Not,
Yikes.
not quite.
Not exactly.
Okay, well that's good. They didn't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is creepy.
But I don't have kids, obviously. But the whole time I'm just like, no, I'm not going back for your rabbit. And I know that would probably change if I had a child, but would it? Even like there's another scene where they're almost gone and something happens and they're like, turn the car around. Like, no, sorry.
Yeah.
Self-preservation first, guys.
It might have been-
Self-preservation first.
Yeah, it might
Speaking
have
of
been a
self-
hair too long for me, I think. You know,
Yeah.
like how long into the movie do y'all think it was till like the scary stuff started happening?
The scary stuff started happening after an hour. Because
That's what I was
was about
thinking,
an
yeah.
hour 50, and I was
Uh-huh.
sitting there saying, I need to pee, but I don't want to
Like-
miss anything. So I looked at my phone. I'm like, okay, so it's got about 50 minutes left at 8 o'clock. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I felt like it had been an hour and I'm like, when is something scary gonna happen? Or like when does like something when they turn, you know what I mean? Where's that turning point? And I felt like it was over an hour, so checks out.
That was one issue. But at the same time, we weren't bored at all.
Yeah.
Like it was still fun.
I was still invested.
But yeah, I think that's it. Everything we've touched on is everything I had in my notes. So we'll go around, give our rankings. We'll close up shop, and then we'll pat ourselves on the back for not giving any spoilers. Oh, wait, the one spoiler. Okay, my favorite scene of the movie is towards the end, and that portal opens, and James McAvoy's Professor X comes out and helps him fight. That was my favorite part of the movie. So. But no, I'm not serious. Am I serious? I don't know. You have to go see it. It comes out today. Go see it. I don't go to theaters that much anymore, but this is definitely a movie to see in theaters with a less high crowd that thinks things are funny. It might take away from your experience a little bit. But anyways, we'll go around and give our rankings. I'll go first. So I gave it a 4 right out the bat. Like Kelly and I walked out together. We were talking about, like, I think the first words out of your mouth was like, I really enjoyed that. And I was like, oh, well, goodness, no 0 from Kellen. I'm impressed. But even thinking about it, since Monday, I'm like, I really enjoyed it. I told my mom to watch it. I said, but do not watch the original, please. I'm going to make Lindsay watch it. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would love to watch it again. I'll own it when it comes out. So 4 for me. Elena?
Right now, for me, it's a 3 out of 5, just because my movie theater experience wasn't the best, although sitting next to you guys was. Like, but I can't wait to watch it again just at my house so I can just like actually focus, and I know Ben will enjoy it as well. So right now it's just a 3 out of 5. James McAvoy was the bomb, and I do recommend people go see it because it is fun. I will give it that. Just don't go in thinking that you're gonna be spooked, because I wasn't. I did jump a couple of times. I don't know if you noticed, Kellen.
I noticed one time. I thought I saw you jumping. I kind of turned and looked at you, but
yes. I can't remember if it was glass shattering or something else, but it really got me. So 3 out of 5 right now, and I'll revisit it and see how I feel later.
Fair. Kellen?
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I do want to watch it again, just to take, like Jay said, to take the crowd out of it, because I do think there were certain scenes that would have been more impactful had people not been laughing. And Jay mentioned there was a thick smell of the ganja in the room at times that you could catch whiffs of, so you know that they
And it wasn't us.
They were
I was gonna
just
say,
laughing
sorry,
to laugh
guys.
at that point. It could have been. It could have been. But I give it 4 claw hammers out of 5. I did enjoy it. James McAvoy was great. That's a non-spoilery spoiler.
Is that a hint? I was like, what?
Yeah. When you watch it, you'll understand.
It's a spoiler. There's a damn claw hammer in the movie. Sorry, guys.
Mr. Brick. They've got bricks and claw hammers. What is this about construction? But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good time, and it was free, so I'm never going to complain.
Never
about
complain. All right, John, what would you give it?
I mean, I think I will tell you what I give the original. Like, I don't know. I don't like the original because it's just so, it's like Funny Games, the original, The Vanishing, kind of like The Strangers, not really, but like those bleak movies. So it's a really well-made movie, but I just don't know how I'll rank it. Like, personally, it's like, 2 on the original. But I will say, like, if I'm just speaking like as a movie, it's like a 4-star movie because there's nothing wrong with it. It's very well.
There's everything wrong with it, John.
And like Lena said, you have to be in a mood for a movie like that, which is why I haven't seen the original. I also had a note that I wrote down was, usually whichever movie you see first is the one you like the best.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of the few examples of that rule. And it's just because it was so different. But like, When Evil Lurks, like, if you've seen that, like, we love that movie, and it's very similar. Like, so I guess when Evil Lurks is a lot rougher, but it's got that same tone and that same uneasy feeling. I don't know.
The ending of 2022 is one of the roughest scenes. That last 10 minutes of that movie is real hard to stomach.
But you know why I think When Evil Lurks is easier to stomach is because it's supernatural. I think because it's not real. You can kind of you can kind of be like, it's okay. But the original Speak No Evil is so real.
It's dog terrifying. Scene. John's like, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine. Yeah.
Yoink.
He's fine. All right, so go see When Evil Lurks, out tonight, Thursday, September, whatever it is. So go see it. We all enjoyed it, except John. He didn't see it yet, but he will enjoy it. We'll get back when he watches it and let you know what he thinks. So that put us at a 3.6. We'll call it a 4. Okay, so close up shop. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to wherever you're listening to this podcast. Follow us on Instagram. Apparently we have a Threads that I somehow posted a picture of me and Lindsay on, and then I had to download the damn thing to get it off. Join our group on Facebook. We have a TikTok. So LinkedIn coming soon. MySpace coming soon. So go check us out there. And come back tomorrow. So listen, we spoil you. We're spoiling you this week with 3 episodes. 3. So tomorrow come back, Friday the 13th. John and Kellen were gracious enough to sit down with our pal Bob Heckman. He directed the Friday the 13th tribute film Victim No More, which is one of our earlier episodes we did with him. James, who played, I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm not even going to try. Sorry, bud. Who played Jason Voorhees, and then Catherine Mary Stewart. So he introduced us to Catherine Mary Stewart, which was amazing. So he's got a crowdsource thing coming up for a sequel to that. So they talked to him. So be sure to come back and check that out and go and contribute anything you can. If you're into that kind of thing, Victim No More is on YouTube. You can watch it for free. So check that out as well. And that's it. So signing off, I'm Jay with John, Kellen, and Lena Del Fear. And until next time,
keep it spooky. Accidentally posting couples pics on Threads is how you get postcards from a Danish couple.
I know. Well, you know what's funny? What's I say funny, but what's stupid about Instagram?
Everything.
I guess it depends on how you set up your account, but on my personal account, I can't edit photos anymore. So I either have to do it on my Sad Spaceman video account or on the Horror Sanctum. So I did it on the Horror Sanctum just this once, and I deleted it as soon as I edited and
Mhm.
filters and stuff. And then I'm on Facebook. I'm like, oh shit, there it is. Which I had to ask TJ to get off because that's connected to him.
Mhm.
And then I don't know how I knew it was on Threads, but I saw that it was on Threads. I'm like, are you shitting me? So then I had to download that and go find it. It had 1 heart. Someone liked it. So
Aw.
thanks. Also, if you're still listening, whoever gave us a 1-star review can go fuck yourselves. I don't know who you are, but you obviously have something personal against us. I think I know who it might be. There was this girl. I don't remember what the take was. I posted something in our story. I'm like, well, this is just an idiot. This guy's just an idiot. And she's like, that's not very respectful. Everybody's entitled to their opinions, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I was a fan, but I'm not anymore. So it could be that person who just
God.
a random Instagram person.
So you're not entitled to your opinion?
Exactly. It's like politics.
Right.
You're entitled to your opinion so long as it favors my opinion. If not,
Exactly.
fuck off.
There you go.
Mhm.
But that we have, there's only 9 reviews on, I think it was on Spotify. They're all 5 stars except that one bitch. So thanks. It could be someone we know.
If you can't
It
back
could
up
be.
your 1-star review with a comment, then you can kiss my ass.
Suck
You
it.
should if you're gonna say 1 star, you better say why. Like, don't just be like,
Yeah.
They're scared. They
Can
were
we
screwed.
put over the movie Strange Darling? That movie is
Yeah,
pretty
you watched that.
badass.
Kellen's the only one who hasn't watched it, so don't spoil it. But I love that movie.
Ah, So
It is
good.
really good. It's
So
man.
good.
Strange Darling. What's that
Yeah.
on? Is that on the site or is
Yeah.
that on streaming?
Yeah, it is
Like-
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot.
It kind of like it felt like Mandy, but I think it was just because it was film. But it was there were some things in it I had questions about. I'm gonna have to rewatch it because there's a few things that I just didn't understand. But yeah, I mean it's
The weirdest
awesome.
part of that movie is the casting of Ed Begley Jr.
yes.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I love him to death, but it
Yes.
just felt so strange.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
Kyle Garner, I've been trying to get him on the show. I freaking love Kyle
Oh
Garner.
man, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, that breakfast they eat. I was like, oh god, they like put all that shit on it.
I
I'm like,
forgot
oh,
about that.
So
Yeah, that was
random. So
that was
random.
gross.
Um,
Yeah.